Brother Kevin, have you always stocked nappies here, or is this a new need because of the number of homeless families coming to the centre?
We've started nappies here really since the recession. We saw a need for it. We saw a number of people coming here with young children, and with the difficulty trying to get money for the nappies. So it's huge for us at the moment. The number of families coming here. And I suppose it's so sad to see little children coming in here every day. And our main concern, of course, is for the protection of the children and to make sure that these are properly taken care of. And I suppose one of the things that really breaks my heart is to see children leaving here in the afternoon and then going into hotels. To me, that's not at all appropriate, especially in this day and age that the children and the families haven't got proper accommodation.
What ages are the children involved?
We have children here from maybe a year to maybe a few months to 15, 16.
Okay. And the parents are coming here to avail of your service and to get nappies because they can't afford to buy nappies themselves?
To avail of our services more importantly, and then for nappies as well as that. Not just alone nappies, but also clothes. The nappies in recent times has got huge, and it's so sad to think that young families have to come to a place like this to get nappies for their children.
How many families a day are coming here now?
It varies maybe from 10 to 20, 30, 40. Yesterday I think we had about 60. So that was huge. And again, I suppose maybe because the children are off school at the moment, and they're bringing them here for dinner.
Is this a big increase on previous years?
Certainly, yes.
Okay. And how would you describe the demeanour of the children that you see here? I know you probably don't interact with them and you sort of let them be, but how would you describe their disposition or their mood when they attend here?
Well, the children come in here, they're very happy, and some of the kids tell their friends at school that we go to a hotel every day for dinner. And I suppose that's one of the things that saddens me, to think that the children think they're availing of a hotel when actually it is a centre for homeless people.
And where do the children go to school after they leave the centre in the morning?
In morning time we have very few children because they're at school. Okay. But in the evening time they come in here immediately after school.
And the parents then go back to the B&B or hotel or hostel?
And they go back to the hotels. We have to be thankful to Dublin Bus, because Dublin Bus issues with tickets, especially for the parents who are a distance from the schools.
What kind of goods do you need donated for these families and for other clients who attend here?
Well, what we need, of course, is food. Our running costs here are 2.3 million. And of that we get 450,000 from the government. But without the generosity of the public and the people at large, under no circumstances would we be able to keep our lifeline in operation for the people in need.
Have you ever run out of funds?
We've never gone short of money, and we've never gone short of food. And that's due to the good Lord himself, because without prayer and without prayer, it's certainly we wouldn't be able to survive.
Do you have a family area in the centre? Is that a new development?
That's about 10 years we developed that.
Okay.
And especially for the child protection, we want to make sure that we have somebody on the family area at all times, and that's very important for the protection of the children.
How much interaction do you have with the parents? Do you have to note their names and numbers and details?
We take the names of the parents in charge of the children. That is for child protection, to make sure that they are the parents of the child. On some occasions we had it where parents came in and the people came in with children who we discovered were not the parents of the child. They were also on drugs, and which was a very sad thing for us to do. We had to get those children taken away from them, put into care.
What ages typically would these parents be? I'm under the impression that they might be young, under 30, no?
These parents that I'm talking about would be anything from maybe in the 20s to the early 30s. And in one occasion, there was one particular person who was really out of it on drugs. And thank God, we were able to get the child put into care, because about 2 weeks after that child being put into care, the mother was found dead on the streets from an overdose.
What time do you open in the morning, and will there be parents outside with their kids waiting to come in?
We open in the morning at 7 o'clock, and that's mainly for the people who are sleeping on the streets at night time. But we wouldn't have parents coming in at that hour in the morning, but later on during the day. But especially summertime, when the kids are off school, they're in here very early in the day.
Do you detect any embarrassment or feelings of self-consciousness among the parents when they're here among other older clients?
Well, no, not really, because at least they're getting food for their children, and as well as that, if they're in need of nappies or children's clothes, we're able to supply them with that. So I think that they're very happy. But I suppose, again, the children are not interacting with people on the floor. We have great protection for that, and we have security, we're very strict in security, and we're very strict in protecting the children's area.
You've been operating this centre with your colleagues for 45 years. How do you feel about the crisis, the growing numbers of families who are homeless, and some of those presenting themselves to you?
Well, I'm shocked and horrified. I think that this day and age, that nothing serious being done for homeless children and their parents. I think that it's a huge call for the government to do something serious for housing the children and housing the parents, to get a proper accommodation for them. At the moment, people come in here and they're heartbroken because they don't know where their future is going to lay.
Have you ever spoken to these children? Have they ever expressed any observations on their own circumstances? We
don't know. Our main concern is that we show kindness and respect to the children. We don't go into details as to how their circumstances with their families and their parents. I think that's very private for them.
Have you ever been overwhelmed by the scale of the operation you now need to run?
Well, I'm quite happy the way it has been run, and I suppose I have to depend on the generosity of the people to help us to keep the centre in operation. And
what do you think of the What do you think of the government's plans to make introduce these temporary housing units in parts of Dublin?
I'm absolutely thrilled, and I think it's a great idea. But I hope that it's not in the long term. I hope that will be for a term whereby that these people will be properly housed in maybe 5 or 6 months' time. But I would object if they're just dumping them in there and forgetting about them. And also, I hope that it's not a mouthpiece putting them there and just forgetting all about them.
What sustains you in your work?
What sustains my work? My great trust in the good Lord, and without the Lord helping me under no circumstances would I be able to do what I am doing.
Could you give me an indication, say, on a typical day, for example, Wednesday, I know it's a busy day, how many people would you have had yesterday in terms of meals, breakfast and dinners and food parcels?
On a Wednesday morning, we'll just take, yesterday morning, we had 560 for breakfast, we had 1,700 for food parcels, we had 60 children in the children's area, and we had 565 for dinner.
How do you see the future playing out in relation to help for homeless families in Dublin?
Come again with that.
How do you think the future will be? Do you think the government will introduce vital measures to help families in Ireland, or that this problem will still be here in a couple of years' time?
Well, my big wish would be that someday that there was no need for centres like ours. But my big worry at the moment that refugees coming into the country, and where are they going to be housed? We have a problem with our own homeless people. So who are we going to give priority to? And my real concern is that, first of all, the people that we're looking after, make sure that they get proper homes. And then if we are bringing in refugees, they too get proper accommodation and not to be dumped in some places, like we have children being dumped in hotels at the moment and being forgotten about.